Hello, Oscillator Sync here, and welcome to another video where we're looking at the synthesis engine that lies at the heart of the Vermona DRM1 Mk.iii analog drum synthesizer. We've made our way down to the bottom here, guys, and we're now going to be looking at the clap channel. The clap channel is pretty complicated, actually. You'd think that clapping your hands would be a fairly simple business, but as it turns out, it's quite involved. And we can do all sorts of interesting stuff with the clap channel. So let's start at, I guess, what would be the baseline setting, which isn't very interesting, but let's have a listen. Okay, so I guess that's not all that interesting. But what we're hearing here actually forms the baseline for the clap sound, and we can do all sorts of stuff with it, and we can add some other sources to it as well. So this is what is kind of termed the clap source. You've got these sort of closely paired sort of needle pulses. Let's start with the control actually called clap. What the clap control does is it kind of spaces these needle impulses apart. There is at full, at half, a bit tighter, and real tight at minimum. And that's kind of to try and approximate, I guess, several people clapping in a room together. Now you're thinking, doesn't really sound much like a clap. So let's bring in the second source of sound that we have, which is the noise source. And this is where things start to sound a bit more like a clap. So it turns out that pairing these sort of needle impulses with a noise source that's what makes a clap sound happen. And immediately you're going, okay, now I understand that we've got a clap sound happening here. So interesting to note here that unlike pretty much all of the other channels, is we've got no decay for the main source of sound here. So the noise lasts as long as the noise lasts. And it's not governed by the length of the claps either. You can hear there that the claps are much tighter now, but the noise is still lasting as long as it's lasting. And if anything, now when the clap is at full, it's kind of overrunning the noise. So there's no way to adjust how long the noise goes for. It's sort of preset, and it's preset sensibly. It's interesting, isn't it, that when we were listening to it independently, the clap almost sounded weird when it was higher up, but now that we've got the noise in with the clap source, it sounds much more sensible. Nice. Okay, so where next? Let's talk about. Now let's go over here. Let's go over to the filter section. So we've got a filter section over here. Again, resonant. So unlike the hi-hats where I think there's a bit of kind of resonance built in there, I think this one's pretty clean with the resonance on 0. But as we start to bring the resonance up, you can kind of start to tune your clap sound. You can find those sweet spots where you get that sort of sweet resonance that you've got there. We've also got at the end here a high pass, which does what a high pass does, which is just dial out some of that bottom end. Very useful once you start playing with the filter. And the other thing that we have here is I guess, borrowed from the same concept that we have in the snare, is this wonderful reverb section. And again, in case you haven't seen the snare video, I'll just explain what's going on here. So the reverb section is not a reverb in the conventional sense, in that it's not physically trying to model reverb using a spring or a plate. It's also not trying to digitally model a reverb using DSP algorithms. Instead, what we've got here is a pretty simple shaped noise source. But as we'll hear, what it adds to the sound is just magical, really. It's just a really great sound. Okay, so let's get the pattern going again. So we've got two controls here. We've got the reverb level, and we've got the decay for the reverb as well. So let's just bring in the reverb at its shortest decay. And immediately, getting a cool sound. Now, the reverb is also affected by the filter. So you can kind of tune the room, if you like, as well as the actual clap sound. And of course we can bring that decay up. Yeah. And the reverb starts to do really interesting stuff at higher resonances on the filter. We bring this resonance all the way up. It starts to sort of burble in a really interesting way. Let's see what happens when we take the noise back out now. Kind of getting those sonar sounds happening. So you can hear there that the noise itself isn't actually affected by the filter. It kind of works independently. So you can kind of use that to layer up two quite different sounds. Obviously that kind of clap sound works a bit more if you're doing it a bit slower. So high resonance, you get pretty much self-oscillation. But it gets picked up by the reverb and you get that lovely burbling happening. Yeah. But you can get much more conventional clap sounds as well, of course. It's finding that sweet spot for your particular clap with the reverb, I think. When you've got the resonance up and the filter down, it's where the high pass can really come in helpful. Just take out some of that rumble. Yep. Yeah, the clap on this thing is, it can sound massive when you've got the reverb all the way up and you have one of those sort of gunshots going off on the offbeat on your beats. Super cool, super cool. Yeah. So that's the clap channel, and we've made it to the end of all the sound sources here. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be putting out some other videos about the Vermona as well, talking a bit more about setting it up, and also I'm planning on doing a video which demonstrates how velocity affects the various different tracks, because it's not just about the volume, as we'll see. We'll also take a look at how we can use the inserts to do some more interesting sound processing on individual items. And we'll look at how we can set up the MIDI. I'll show you on the Beatstep Pro, but it's the same for anything. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those next few videos. And please do like the video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.